Volkanovski did it again. Can I say he looked better than ever? That was probably one of his best performances. He had 2 back-to-back losses, 2 knockouts, suffered 2 KOs, 2 bad KOs. Comes back looking better than ever. I can't say Lopes fought great. He didn't fight great. He's a great fighter, and I'm sure he's going to be back, and I'm sure he's going to be in more title fights. I'm very confident that Lopes will be in many more title fights in his career. However, it did seem like he just couldn't get going. He had one brilliant moment in round 2 where he knocked down Volkanovski. He hurt Volkanovski with a good punch, dropped Volkanovski. Even though earlier in that round, Lopes was badly hurt. I'm not going to do a whole play-by-play, but that was the one shining moment he had. And maybe he won, what was it, round 3 or 4? I can't remember. Maybe one round, maybe. But it could have been a 5-round shutout for Volkanovski, or at best 4-1 for Volk. It was a complete domination from Volkanovski. What an incredible performance. He looked better than ever. After it seemed so dim, so dark, it looked like he was out. Everybody was doubting him, including myself, thinking he's coming back too early. I know it's been a year, but he got his bell rung twice in a row, and both times were really, really bad. This young kid's so explosive. He's so dangerous. He's so raw. He's so, he has so many miles. He has so many more miles to go than Volk, it seems. But no. Volk proved many of us all wrong. And he fought beautifully. He was technical. He was precise. He finished strong. It was a brilliant performance. I would call it a shutout, guys. I would definitely call it a shutout. Now, there were other great fights. I want to talk about those great fights as well. But I want us to focus on this fight. First, I'm taking comments and questions. I'm not doing a play-by-play of every moment in the fight because it was a one-sided ordeal. Yes, Lopes had that great moment in round 2 where it seemed like he can do it. It was short-lived, and I still gave that round to Volk because Volk had hurt him earlier in the round, and I thought Volk had landed the better shots in that round. Even it's rare a guy gets knocked down and you still want to give it to him. So if you were going to be super generous, it could be 3-2 Volk. I don't see it that way. I'd see it 4-1 at best, and I don't argue with anybody who tells me they think Volk won all 5. That's a really good case to be made that Volk even won all 5. Okay, guys, give me your comments and questions on this. Guys, don't forget to use promo code GET55OFF. Get 55% off anything on jujiclub.com. I just released Professional Shadowboxing. Check it out. And I also just released Guillotine Escapes. Check it out. Make sure you don't get guillotined. Coach, you mentioned Volk was feinting a lot. Do you think there's a need for instructionals in ways of the feint? That's from Student of Life. In shadowboxing, I talk a lot about how to feint, how to drill your feinting. Okay, so for sure we can go more in depth, but there's a lot of it in that video. So you have a man guides to throwing a punch. That's a really good video for somebody starting out. They want to build a boxing routine. I think it's very good for advanced fighters too. I go over a lot of important stuff in that. And then professional shadowboxing is another layer above. It's like it's more advanced. And there I show a lot of footwork stuff, a lot of how to block, how to, tactics, how to feint also, how to use your footwork, etc. So there's a lot in there. Of course, there's a lot more to come, but make sure to check out those 2 videos. Both of them are really, really important. So Volk was doing a great job. If you watch the fight, you look right away when the bell starts. Volk immediately starts with the feints. He's faking. And Lopes doesn't know when to go. Lopes is a very aggressive fighter typically. If you throw a punch at him, he flurries back. But he didn't know when to flurry. Lopes kept triggering him, and then he's touching his Adam's apple. Lopes keeps couldn't stop touching his Adam's apple. He talked about it before the fight. He said it's a nervous tick that he has. He has a nervous tick. I think once upon a time or something, he said he choked or something. So he has this nervous tick, and he was nervous from round 1. Nervous, kept touching his Adam's apple. Like he was doing it a lot in the fight. That tells me that Volk had him on pins and needles the whole time. He was biting on those fakes. He didn't know when to go, because he knows that if he picks wrong, Volk can punish him. Ultimately, I think Lopes was too careful and he was too one-dimensional in the fight. He was just focused on boxing. He didn't kick, he didn't knee, he didn't wrestle, he didn't elbow, he didn't tie up, he didn't do anything but punch boxing. And he didn't throw much either. So I really felt he could have done a lot better. I really think he's going to be going back to the drawing board, kicking himself when he watches the fight, because he was raising his hand at the end of the fight like he thought he won. He wasn't sure. He was like, yeah, I won this. And then when they were announcing, he's like, I think I got it. And it's like, dude, there's no way you won this fight. Did he go back to watch the tape and like ask himself, what was I doing? I was way behind. Why didn't realize? Maybe he didn't realize it. Maybe he thought he was doing okay in the rounds. It could be that he was overwhelmed by the moment. Diego Lopes got the 4th round, coach. That's from Jay Zargo. Yeah, I believe that's what it was. I did a watch party live. For those of you who didn't see the fight, you want to hear with the play-by-play, go check it out. I'll give you the play-by-play if you guys didn't buy it. I purchased it, and I was thoroughly entertained. However, if you didn't purchase it and you just want to hear what was happening, you can play that video. Coach, thoughts on who should Volk fight next? I think Movsar. That's from Johnny. Johnny, I would love to see that fight. Me and you, we'd love to see that fight, but I don't think UFC wants to do that fight. I think they have a thing against Movsar a little bit, his fighting style. They want somebody more dynamic. They're going to look for another contender maybe. It's possible he gets the fight. I just don't think he will. And I would love to see that fight. I think they should give him that fight. I think it's a great fight. I would tune in. However, if Movsar were to win, I think the UFC would be tearing its hair out just a little bit. Because the entertainment value, the shock value, it's going to be harder to sell tickets for that style of fighting for 5 rounds. Like 3 rounds is cool. Movsar is cool. I would love, guys, I would personally like to watch Movsar for 5 rounds. What I'm saying is the average person doesn't like to see too much wrestling. So I think the UFC is not going to rush to give Movsar a fight unless they have no other choice. And there are good choices, especially after that night. We have Jean, we have Yair. I mean, those 2 names alone, I think, are going to get a shot before Movsar. Money jab. Yes, the money jab. It was working. His jab. Volkanovski was jabbing beautifully. It was, I would think, the best jabbing night he ever had. He picked and poked beautifully. It was incredible. It was really incredible. Hey coach, I missed these podcasts. That's from Le Double, but I do them all the time now. So you're back on, my friend. Okay, guys, we're going to talk about Paddy Pimblett and Chandler, but let's just finish this off. I'm not going to harp on this fight for too long. I just want to do a few because it was a great fight. Even though it was one-sided, it was still a legendary moment. Volkanovski coming back as champion, winning the title again for the 2nd time, and now he's the crown jewel of the featherweight division. Arguably the greatest featherweight of all time. I know there's going to be a lot of debate about this, but the guy's really dominated the division quite incredibly. Okay, guys, I'm going to open it up to anything because I think it was too one-sided for us to go too in detail with this fight. That's why I'm not going to do a whole play-by-play. But at the end of the day, wow, what a performance, man. The guy's back. He's back on top. He's champion again. Congratulations to Volkanovski. I'm thoroughly impressed. Hats off.